All right, hello and welcome to Swing It and Ding It, an iHeartMedia podcast. I mean, this is a birdie fest.
It's a Philly show, baby.
Let's go.
That's right. Welcome into Swing It and Ding It. And we are sponsored by Comcast Business, introducing ultimate speed for business, the fastest internet plans yet from Comcast Business, powering possibilities. You have Moose, Mays, and Matthews. And as we like it to take it to Philly golf, we have a great Philly golf story. Patrick Sheehan joins Swing It and Ding It. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys having me on.
No problem. So I'm sure life has been a whirlwind over the past couple weeks, and we want to kind of get into your whole golf journey and obviously dig into the Philly golf side. But let's start with the most recent, with the Monday Q and making it into the Cognizant, and just want to get your thoughts on just how, I mean, intense that was. First of all, just having to play incredible golf, going 8 under 64 to get in, but now all of a sudden you're in, right? And it's a little bit different than anything else that you probably ever experienced.
Definitely.
Just talk about those two moments of the winning and then the, I got to get into this thing and try to play.
So yeah, it was a whirlwind. That was my first Monday qualifier I've actually ever played in. So I went through the pre-Q on Thursday at a course called Indian Spring in Boynton Beach. And I won a minor league there a few weeks ago. So I was feeling good about that course and ended up getting in. I thought I was comfortably in, and then one of the guys in my group made about a 50-footer, and then I had to make my 5-foot slider to get through. But happy to do that. And then once I got to the Monday, it was nice because my brother was here this weekend, and he was flying out later that night, and he's caddied for me in a couple USAMs and some other qualifiers. But I got first tee time, and I was like, okay, the rain's coming. This is a good opportunity. I got a good draw. And then we just kind of went out there, and I just always hear how hard these Monday qualifiers are. So I'm like, all right, you just got to shoot low. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to aim at every pin. I haven't been known to be a good putter sometimes. So I'm like, I really need to try and, rely on my ball striking, which I did. And, I just kept, I think I turned in 4 under. I made a nice birdie on 9. And then I was like, okay, not in it, but I need a really strong back 9. And then, rallied off 5 birdies in a row, and my putter just got hot. Felt like every shot that I hit ended up on the fall line too. So it was like the putts were pretty straight. And when I got in, I 3-putted the last hole, unfortunately, for my only bogey. And I was kind of like, is that going to kill me? I was pretty upset about it. But Jim Herman, who I played with, was like, you're in. But that almost then gave me kind of a mental roller coaster, because I kept having these people telling me like, oh, you'll be good. 8 under always gets in. But just since I was the first tee time waiting that whole day, I don't know if I've ever been more mentally exhausted in my life. And then I showed back up to Tesoro probably around 5 o'clock that night, and that's right when they suspended play. So then I had to wait till the morning. And
did you get any sleep?
Yeah, no, I slept fine. That was a question that I was getting for a lot of people, especially like going in the first round at the Cognizant. But no, didn't have any issue sleeping, but it was just, and then it was a mad rush once I figured out I was in to try and get back to PGA. And I didn't have any credentials or anything. So that was kind of odd getting in the gate. But once I got in, kind of got settled, it was the kind of feeling sunk in that once you're walking around with these pros and stuff, it felt pretty cool.
We'll talk about that. I was over there with Brad Faxon, and we found out that you had qualified, and we were like, he's like, all right, we looked you up, and he's like, he's tall. Like, we were riding around looking for you, because I was like, let's grab him for a quick interview for the pod. But you said no credentials, what day did you get over there? What time? And what was that process like, just kind of figuring it all out and getting over there on ground?
Yeah, I probably got out around maybe around noon. I got there, and at least
Wednesday?
No, on Tuesday. I did get out on Tuesday. And at least like I talked to the kid that I was going to have caddy, like on Monday night, I was like, hey, like I have a good chance of getting in, like, just like free your schedule up if you can. And so like then we met up after I came back from Sora. We headed over there around noon, and then trying to figure out registration and people actually believing that I was in the event. So that took a little bit. But then once I got the credentials and finally got out there, it was kind of a mad rush to get the first tee because I knew I couldn't play a Wednesday with the Pro-Am. So really just tried to hit a couple balls and get out there around probably 2-ish.
Who'd you play your practice round with?
Front nine, I played with Braden Thornberry and Taylor Montgomery. So it was pretty cool. They were two good guys. Back nine, I had the maintenance crew was out on 10-11, so I just walked 10-11. Didn't end up playing them, and then ended up just playing the rest by myself. And then Matt Kuchar joined me on 18, so that was, and Danny Walker too. So that was pretty cool.
That is cool. Now I know you're living very close by during the winter months. So what was your familiarity with the Champion course coming into that event?
Never played before, never seen it. Just watched it on TV. Honestly, that's what I kind of remember from it. But yeah, Tuesday was my first time playing. And it was cool because I was there. I was at PGA National probably 2 weeks before playing a minor league event on their match course, and you kind of drove past the first tee and the range, and you see how green it was, which was kind of crazy for me down in South Florida. You're playing these courses that got Bermuda everywhere.
But then the rye overseed makes it pop on television.
Yeah, it looked great, and it was nice, and it was comforting almost because it felt like it was just back at home, the rough. So that was kind of a nice perk to have.
That's so you're there right now. It's tournament time. What was the biggest difference to you with getting to the course before a PGA Tour event compared to all the other experiences you've had playing in tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, I had to get there a lot earlier. I'll say that, just because, you're going through, you don't know how many cars are going to be waiting to go through the checkpoints to get through. And
you don't want to have a Scheffler incident. You're thinking about that, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I probably got there almost like 2 hours beforehand. So getting there and out. Well, they always have, they got nice spreads for breakfast and lunch. So I'm like, I'm going to take advantage of all that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a lot different. Preparing like before the round, just because I'm usually like a 50-minute to an hour guy. I don't need that much time. But yeah, with like the walking in between, the ropes and stuff, and people, like, it just took some extra time than I was used to.
So Patrick, do you have any like wow moments on the course, whether, playing with certain guys or just the experience in general?
No, I've kind of always been a big believer that, like, at the end of the day, it's just golf. No matter what event you're playing in. Like, I've been fortunate enough to play in 4 USAMs, so I got at least some crowd experience last year or this past fall at Hazeltine, because we were the only ones left out on the course playing. But it's just kind of, I think the wow factor was more so just like the people that were following, watching, and kind of just, it's nice to be like kind of supported like that and just have like a big crowd. And a lot of friends came out. So that was kind of the cool part for me, honestly.
Well, obviously you said, the Monday queue, you got to fire at pins. You got to go low to have a chance. Now you have just a couple of days turnaround to get ready to play a pretty difficult golf course with a lot of water. Big numbers can be anywhere. You don't know what the wind's going to be. What was the game plan for Champions course, and how long did it take you to develop that with a new caddy?
Yeah, I think the biggest the difference coming in was that I couldn't use a rangefinder, and that was kind of my big concern. Like, hey, like how are we going to get yardages if I hit it offline? And I was pretty good about that, except for one on the second round that I hit a tree and it bounced right, and I was like, how are we going to get this distance? And that was, my caddy was great with that. He actually got it on the number. So it was funny because you see the tourcast afterward, he like sent me a picture and he was like, see, I got it. So that was nice. But, like I said, at the end of the day, it's just golf. I knew I was playing well. Just going to rely on the strengths of my game, which is ball striking, and which I did. And then, the putter let me down, but it happens. But it was nice to feel comfortable out there. I didn't know how I was going to feel at first, but like first tee was a little nerve wracking, and then, strike one down the middle and ended up making birdie. And I was like, all right, I settled in. It's just golf. Did
you tee off watching. 1 or 10 the first day? I forget.
10, which I was
10.
which
Okay,
I
the
was
par
pretty
five.
happy
Yeah.
about, that it was a driver instead of, you know, a 4-iron out there.
Right.
And so it was a nice old start on for sure.
Nice.
Love it. So talk about how your experience in the Gap and Philly golf, which we know is incredible, right? Just talk about the experiences you had and how maybe that moment for you wasn't as big as it may have been for others, just because of the great experience and the great players that you get to play with from our area.
Yeah, definitely. We're really fortunate in Philly to have such good competition and good players, and you know the Gap runs such great events, and that was the biggest thing that almost stung for me turning professional, is that I couldn't play in Gap events anymore. But yeah, like you know these Gap events, the Philly Am, they always get you know a good amount of people out watching, and they're always on good golf courses and in good shape. So it didn't really feel that much different than you know say a Gap event when you're just looking down fairways and greens, but instead there's grandstands. So like, that was one of the things that I was happy about, that you know I thought that the grandstands would kind of be visually more in the way, but they're really kind of just out there, and at the end of the day you're really just kind of looking at the pins, fairways. So it's like I said, it's just golf. So
Now, staying on the topic of Philly golf, are there any like local players or maybe coaches that had a big influence on your golf development?
yeah, I'd say, you know, really two people in particular. I've been getting lessons from Lou Guzzi since I was probably over 10 years. And, you know, I've always kind of been a field player, and I'm not like a technical, so I don't see him often, but, you know, he's always been there for me whenever I need some advice and some help on my swing. And then the other person is Andy Waters, who he kind of came into Talmore right when I did, probably 9-10 years ago. I think that's when I joined Talmore, and I'd never been a country club kid before. Kind of grew up playing, you know, public golf course. My parents weren't huge into it. My dad played, but after he had kids, it kind of slowed down. Um, but yeah, Andy was I mean, he was a huge part with, you know, they kind of allowed me to do what I wanted to do at Talmore, and kind of was a big help. And you know, when I was a junior, they had some rules where I couldn't play after certain times, and or before certain times, and he was kind of pretty lenient with that, and always supported my journey, always followed every event that I played in. So, you know, he was really a big part of my golf journey.
All right. Well, I know you hit it a mile. You got to tell us, what's in the bag right now and what's the ball speed up to?
So I'm pretty much all tailor-made through the bag. I'm still using the QI10. Been found it to be a great fit for me and my game. And driving's always been my specialty. I probably average in the high 80s. I know I got a couple of like 192s out. Not Brandon Matthews speed, but yeah, I'll take the high 80s for sure.
That's awesome. So talk about a second your Penn State career, right? You're the third lowest career stroke average player in PSU history. What was that experience like playing for Penn State?
Yeah, I loved it up there. You know, I didn't have the best junior golf career that I would like. It was very up and down, and you know, I was just really happy to get a scholarship from them.
Yeah.
And the second that Coach and it was Coach Howe then, called me and were like, "We have a spot for you." I was, I would have answered right then and there that I was going. But I had to take some time, tell my parents and stuff. But yeah, it was awesome. It was a weird start to college with, COVID, and
Right.
my freshman year, we had left for our spring break trip, which is usually about 11, 12-day trip. And we were down in Reynolds, Lake Oconee. And
Oh, nice.
that's, all the March Madness or all the conference championship basketball tournaments were being canceled, but we're like, we're golf, so nothing's going to happen to us. And then, next day, all of a sudden they're like, we got to pack up and head home.
Oh.
So that was a weird start. And then not playing the next fall. And then sophomore year, I only played 2 events my freshman year. And then, sophomore spring, got in to play an event down in Myrtle Beach for Coastal Carolina's event, and played second round. All of a sudden, come out of lunch, my clubs were stolen, just gone.
No way.
What?
So yeah, and of course called the Dunes Club, which they just hosted
Yeah.
the Myrtle Beach. So
That's
it's
a nice
great
spot.
golf course.
Yeah.
Can't say enough good things about it. But came out, club stolen.
They were just
And then-
sitting outside of the clubhouse, like.
Yeah, just on the putting green with
Wow.
about 20 other bags. Came out and I was like, what am I going to do? I ended up having to play with a demo set, but then Flew
How'd you
home.
play? We need to know how you play with the demo set.
I didn't play very good in the event, so it wasn't hard to beat how I played with my other clubs. But yeah, it was actually probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me. The biggest blessing in disguise, because I ended up had to go back home, got 8th grade irons that I was using that, you would never fit for someone my height at that age, and just started playing my best golf I ever played, and then finished second the next event at our home event. And it was, the other thing was at the peak of COVID, so you couldn't get shafts and grips shipped too well
Right.
from overseas. So I was kind of playing with some stock stuff, or like used my teammate's driver, putter. But it kind of gave me like a different outlook on golf, and just like, like I said, at the end of the day, it's just golf. That's kind of like the motto that I play by. But yeah, then that fast forward into, I went from a 5-6 guy in the lineup to playing one the next year, and playing, and I never missed an event after that. So it was kind of like like I said, it was probably the biggest blessing in disguise I could have had. But it really kind of jump started my golf career at Penn State, because I don't think I would have finished, third on our scoring list if that may not have happened to me. So.
Wow.
It's wow. I kind of forget about COVID and hear just different experiences, and obviously how it affected your collegiate golf experience. It's wild.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience, definitely.
So Patrick, what's next for you? Are we going to focus on Mondaying, or, mini tour things, like something else? What do we got going on?
Yeah. Still doing the mini tour stuff. I mean, the minor league's great down here to be able to play, pretty consistently, each week. I have a couple Monday qualifiers in the future that I'm looking for. I signed up for the Punta Cana one. So that's the next one on my plate. But yeah, the minor leagues, and it's such great competition down here. Even like, you're not winning a bunch of money, but like just the competition, you really can't beat. And I don't think people know about it enough, just how good of players that there are down here. I think one of the other guys that plays minor league, Dawson Jones, he just qualified for the Puerto Rican Open this week. So I mean, they usually have great fields and great competition. So happy to keep that up. But hopefully you can get into some more Mondays and maybe travel some too as well.
Will you try to qualify in any corn events, or are we just focused on the PGA?
Yeah,
events?
no, definitely would. Like, this is also new to me. Really didn't know how the transition from amateur to pro golf worked, and like the Cognizant was my first Monday. Like, I was gonna do the Corn Ferry ones,
which is
earlier
wild.
in Jan. Yeah, I take good batting average, I guess. But yeah, I was gonna do the Corn Ferry ones in January. Just wasn't playing well with my game after coming off a winter and going up north. But happy where it's at now. So yeah, trying to find as many as I can and see what I can do with my schedule and stuff.
Awesome.
Well, now I know you've been over to the SoFi Center a few times. Give us your impressions of, were you an indoor golf fan to begin with, or because this is totally different indoor golf? Just give us your impressions of the TGL and the SoFi Center.
Yeah, it's the first time I walked in, it was pretty unbelievable walking in for the first time. And when I walked in late November, it was, it was still under construction. I was like, how are they going to get this done in time? But they did, and they had people working, countless hours. But, before practicing inside up at Penn State, I was never a fan of indoor golf, just because I always struggled to aim into, especially with driver and, 3-wood and longer clubs, because like I usually play like a decent cut. I've kind of lowered it now, but like I always struggled with the aiming part, and I get frustrated, just like, because we'd have competitions or something up at school, and I would stink in the driving category, yet I felt like I was almost the best driver on the team outside. And I get a little frustrated with that. But then the TGL, the SoFi Center, being 35 yards away from this big screen, and you get this nice view of where you can almost, play the draw or play the cut. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. And it's almost like, it felt like a big video game. And like, it was nice because there was like a lot of other mini tour guys that would do it, so it would be pretty competitive when we did do the matches. So that was kind of a cool thing. And just the technology is crazy with the green, and how good the turf is. It's not real grass, but it's about as good a turf as you could ever want to chip on, and be very realistic. So it's been cool to be a part of that. And definitely, I don't think I've missed a match since it started. So I really do enjoy watching it, and I think it is a good concept.
What about Tiger asking for chicken finger last night with
I know
Charlie?
that was pretty funny. Definitely pretty funny.
Charlie's like, no, these are mine. I got to real quick take it back to Penn State though. Talk about like the facilities up there. I know one of my clients who's within the golf industry said, I believe, and I may be incorrect here, but they have one of the most advanced like golf training facilities, and even with like the AI technology and things like that they're looking into. Just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we are very blessed to have such a good PGM program up at Penn State, and that draws in hundreds of kids to go to school. My first 4 years, we didn't really do too much with them, but then my last year, we actually like their GTRC lab. We kind of went in and put on, I forget what it's called, put on this black suit and could analyze our swing. So I think they're really starting to take more advantage of that now, which is good. But yeah, it's tough being a northern school, trying to compete with all these southern schools that can play, and that was kind of the biggest challenge. Even though we do go south so much, but I think one of the things that I think we're starting to do is going to build a new facility just for the golf team, men's and women's, to add on to ours. So that could be a big boost for the program moving forward, for sure.
All right, so we have to try to maybe get you in trouble here. You're down in Florida, you meet someone new and they say, oh, you're from the Philly area. What's the best golf course up there? What's your answer?
Well, my favorite golf course is probably Marion. When I played it in the state am, even though I had an unfortunate loss to a hole out on the last hole, it really stuck out to me just how green everything was, and how, it's not a long golf course, but it's about as challenging as it can get. But a sleeper course, I would say, is that's not talked about enough, is White Marsh Valley. That's one of my favorite places around, for sure.
That's going to make some people very happy.
That's a good one.
Love to hear that.
Great answer.
Love to hear that. Well, listen, man, thank you for coming on. We'll be following along, continued success. Really cool to see, what you did and now what you're going to turn this into. So good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate being on.
You got it.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, let's take a quick break and we will be right back. All right, welcome back to Swing It and Ding It. Great to talk to Patrick Sheehan. And that was like that was a crazy story in our area that hit all at once when someone like that Monday cues in.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine, he seems like a pretty calm and level dude, which is probably a huge reason for his success. But man, that's got to be like, he said a whirlwind. I think that's the perfect word to describe what that must feel like.
Oh, yeah. And Philly's just so passionate about sports. So even if we don't know exactly who it is, we just see that he's, from Pennsylvania. We're like, let's go Auto fans. And, it's just, he kind of, said he had a bunch of his friends following him. So awesome. Excited to follow his journey.
Yeah, I know. When I was texting, trying to get him on the show, he didn't respond for about 2 or 3 days. And he comes back and says, oh, I'm really sorry, man. My phone just absolutely blew up. I'm just getting through all these messages, but then, we worked it out to come on. But yeah, I can't imagine, man.
Harry, how'd you go about getting his phone number?
Well, I got some people, so I can't.
Well, it's funny because Greeny hit me up because he's a buddy of his, Scotty, his brother, and Patrick are like really good friends. So
okay,
he had sent me the, that he got in. And then we're trying to get him on, but we were trying to get him on last week. But I'm glad we didn't. I would have felt bad if we would have tried to like get him on Tuesday night or like.
Yeah. Hey, you just had like the longest 2 days of your life.
Right.
Why don't you give us 30 minutes of your time?
Yeah, good on him to turn us
good
down.
Stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Cognizant where Patrick Monday cued into. Joe Highsmith makes the cut by 1 and wins it. First time since Brant Snedeker at the 2016 Farmers, and also the 18th left-handed player to win a PGA Tour event.
Yeah.
Look at
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I was watching a lot of this on Sunday, and the Jake Knapp, what a tournament, what a wild tournament for him. He gets a 59 opening round.
I feel like I can't even swallow when you talk about it.
Ends up T6 and it with a triple on 11.
Yep.
Where I don't know. I don't know if you have a more experienced caddy. Did they say hang on? Like I don't know, Harry. What do you think about that scenario?
I don't know, but my buddies and I talk about this all the time. That when we see this happen, and it happens, periodically every week to different players, And it's our contention that the caddies are afraid to sort of speak up a lot of times because they don't want to get fired. Okay, and they don't want to say, "Hey, what are you doing here, man? Like, let's do this." And the players like, "Yo, you just carry the bag," and then they're fired. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to speak up. Danielle, I'm sure you can offer better insight into this.
I was just gonna say
that's what we say.
It's one of the most caddying is one of the most uncomfortable things in the world. And, I said it's probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. If add rain to that, to the day that you're looping, it is hands down the hardest job in the world. Like I remember being out there, like trying to keep all the clubs dry, trying to like make sure they're good. It's really tough. And Harry, I think you nailed it with saying like, like what if you're about to say something here on the pod? And I'm like, well, wait, Harry, maybe you should say it like this. It's
now,
like,
I'd say it because I don't care if I get fired, but I would say it. I'd go down swinging like this is a stupid move. Take an extra club, hit the middle of the green. Let's make par. It's not a birdie hole, and let's go to 12.
And it's interesting how it varies out there, right? You have guys that have professional caddies that have been doing this for years. Then you have guys who have kind of like their friends or buddies that they just feel comfortable with because they need a friend out
members.
there.
Which is great. It keeps it good for them mentally. But then we just heard Patrick say, oh my God, how am I going to get this yardage? And thankfully his guy had that knowledge, to walk it off properly. Because if I'm on your bag, I'm keeping your clubs clean. I'm telling great jokes. I generally know how to walk off the yardage, but it's going to be a real loose, like, we're like 120-ish. Like, my steps might not be exact. So, I think there is a benefit to having a happy medium of the two, having your brother or your best friend or somebody on the bag, like Mav's brother, but I'm sure his golf IQ is, up there. So Scout. Scout. I think you kind of hit that correct with that hair. You're afraid to speak up. I remember being on the bag and being like, don't hit driver here. Like, you're going to be on in two no matter what, just lay up and, but sometimes
I just treat it basketball. Like when I'm caddying my wife around, I'm like, who do you think you are here? Annika Sorenstam? Put that club back and get this one. Like that's the way I roll.
That's why I like, when I play in events with Greeny, he could tell me, Moose, what are you doing? Like, you're not hitting that shot here. And he'll just hand me the other club. And okay, you got it. Thank you. Yeah, because we played together for so long that he knows.
Like pin hunting every time. Brendan's like, where are you aimed? I'm like, at the pin. He's like, no, it's tucked right. Like, you got a green this big, like aim left. And I'm like, why?
It's going to get up there somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Greeny wants to pull that mini driver and he can't find it because it's not in the bag.
I just did purchase a new driver though. Driver. I went with
big boy driver.
I went with my Golf Spy's #1, the Callaway Triple Diamond.
Oh, we got to talk to somebody from my Golf Spy. Elite. Probably like 6 years ago or something. I actually typed in I was like, I'll demo some clubs or whatever. They sent me this like putter and it had like my Golf Spy logos on the bottom. I still have it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's quite the organization they have there. I would love to talk to those guys and just see how that started. And it came up when we had Johnny Wonder on a couple of weeks ago, how that was like a huge story. So
because they test everything all the time. Like if there's any golf gadget in the world, like they're testing it.
Yep.
And they're letting real people test it, give honest feedback. So it's awesome. Yeah. Love what they're doing there.
So back to the Cognizant, Harry. Joe Highsmith ggets the win. Spieth again with a good finish at T9. What else stood out to you from the weekend?
Well, I mean, Highsmith, I remember watching him a few years ago at Pepperdine. He had the hat on then, and was one of these up and coming guys who has developed a friendship with Fred Couples over the years. And Couples, I've heard him say recently, before he won, that he thinks Highsmith is a top 50 player in the near future. And that's pretty glowing praise. You had Joe LaCava Jr. on the bag. Of course, Joe LaCava used to caddy for Fred Couples and Tiger Woods, and is now with Patrick Cantlay. So, it's kind of cool seeing this next generation, not only player but caddy come through. He goes back-to-back 64s on the weekend after making the cut on the number. I mean, it's just in a golf course that wasn't ferocious the first 2 days because there wasn't any wind. But Saturday and Sunday, the wind started to pick up, and it took its toll on, Taylor Montgomery had the lead for a while on Saturday and blew up on the 15th hole. That was carnage. We talked about Jake Knapp's carnage. I mean, there's bogeys everywhere out there, when the wind is up. And Highsmith, he's just cruising right through, man. And who knows? They talk about floodgates opening all the time on the Golf Channel, and I make fun of it all the time. But
Right, yeah.
you know, who knows? I mean, this young guy might be one of these guys that at the end of the year we're saying, man, he's got 3 wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they love talking about, after someone gets
yeah.
one win, they're going to fill the trophy case. right?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's many tales of trophy case fillers
Right.
that were one and dones. It's a tough sport, man.
It
It's
is.
tough to get back to the top, and sometimes I feel like it gets tough. I feel like it's tougher for some people when they win. I know it sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, you have this expectation, and you change your game a little bit. It seems,
Yeah.
right?
The
But
pressure. Yeah.
I felt bad for Taylor Montgomery. He's a great putter. He needed to finish T13 or better to reach the top 125 because he's on a medical extension, and he didn't do it because he had a triple bogey quadruple bogey, on Saturday at the 15th, a quad, and then he makes triple on Sunday at 16. So the bear trap really took its toll from him. Yeah, it ate him up. But the great story too, outside of Highsmith, was Luke Clanton.
Yep.
Making the cut. How cool was that on Friday?
Yeah.
This is why cuts are cool. You just see a guy making the cut on the number goes on to win, and another guy making the cut is now a pro whenever his college career comes to an end later this spring. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great event, great finish, right? It's good to see. I mean, some people were like to rip the leaderboard. It's funny, we talked about Spieth.
Oh, yeah.
How about Spieth's quote? Because he didn't get into Arnold Palmer. I guess I had to play better injured golf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that?
Shots fired.
Ricky Fowler didn't get in either.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Who had some success there. So, all right, let's roll into some tea.
Yeah. Well, let's start it off with Harry was just mentioning Fred Couples. I feel like he might be somebody we might have to have him come on and he take over my job with spilling the tea, because he said that Brooks wants to return to the PGA Tour from Live Golf. And he said this to Seattle's KJR 93.3 FM on Monday. I talk to Brooks Koepka all the time. I love Brooks Koepka, and I'm not going to say anything extra except I talk to him all the time. Okay, you're not going to say anything extra. Except he did. He said, Brooks wants to come back. I will say that I believe he really wants to come back and play on the tour. So he said he wasn't going to say anything. He talks to him all the time, but he said he wants to come back. So we'll see if Fred's just, spilling some tea, if there's there's actually some validity to this.
Yeah.
And if Phil had a rebuttal, right? Did you see Phil Mickelson's rebuttal?
No, I did not.
Let me see if I can find it real quick while we're talking, because basically it was like, if that did happen, wait, I'm trying to find it, so I don't want to misquote him. But it was basically like you just broke a friend's trust, and if it didn't happen, it basically ripped him. I'm making sure it was actually Phil. It's not coming up in his tweets, but it was a response.
His tweets are very political lately.
Yeah, I mean, he may have pulled it down, but there was definitely a rebuttal from.
But right,
Phil.
like I'm telling my friend something, and I'm like, all right, like just general conversation. All of a sudden, you're going on the radio station. You're like, hey, actually, Harry Mays does A, B, and C.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't necessarily appreciate that, even if it was from Fred Couples. But
yeah, that's what I said when I heard you.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
I have it.
He says, if it's not true, he damaged the relationship which he cares about. If it is true, he took away Brooks's control of the timeline and narrative. Either way, this is a low-class jerk move by Fred.
Wow.
Low-class jerk move. Okay.
Wow.
No, but you know what?
Man.
Keep it honest out here. I'd be upset too if that's my friend.
Yeah.
I'm telling you something. Keep it, shh, and then you're sharing it.
Yeah.
But let's keep on that topic. So Bryson has been the source of internet speculation, with recent rumors suggesting he's looking to return to the PGA Tour after his contract expires reportedly in 2026, and that he turned down a proposal for a new contract. However, he was asked about it in media recently, and he said, no, I'm very excited about the future of Live Golf. I'm very excited to be the captain of the Crushers and continue our legacy that we're starting to create. That's my goal, to create this lasting legacy where we impact millions and millions of golfers' lives
like
around the world.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yankees,
that should,
Red
and he
Sox,
said,
Crushers,
he closed it and said,
Canadians.
that should tell you everything you should know.
Yeah.
However, one of the comments I saw on Instagram with regarding this post was somebody said, yeah, it's basically essentially the same words he said about staying with the PGA Tour.
Right, right.
So we'll see. We'll see if Brooksy and Bryson are renewing contracts, if they're coming back, if they're not, what's going on, who knows?
Yeah, meanwhile, Bryson says this doing media for the Live Hong Kong event in Hong Kong at the event. Like, what's he going to say?
Yeah, what's he going to say? Actually, you know, I'm out the door. This, you know, see you guys later. Yeah.
But he has to love the fact that that rumor got out there, because that to him gives him negotiating power with,
you would think,
the PIF, right? You would think, right? Yeah.
Plus gives him some more views, make a little extra cash, some more on his social. He's the content king.
He wins everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere. All areas of life. All right. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a video clip of Nelly Korda practicing in the rain, like getting pelted with raindrops. And JT commented, "We do this for a living, Nelly. Go inside." Like, get out of the rain. There's no reason to be out there. Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't see it, but you know, maybe she doesn't like indoor golf. You know, she wants to feel the elements like I did this past Saturday.
You got to play it. You got to play in them sometimes.
Actually, I did. You know, I might have heard this, you know, from Cooch, might not have. Harry said, "Oh wait, hold on a second. Oh, never mind. Disregard that. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by a phone call." All right, moving on. Rory in the media on the Live PGA at the Arnold Palmer. It takes two sides to tango. If one side is willing and ready and the other isn't, it sort of makes it tough. And then he also said their $1 billion would be nice too. You know, Rory's probably hurting for money.
Yeah. Right.
And he also said, "Hey, I'm not this isn't my job. I'm not the person that's supposed to be, you know, negotiating these type of deals." So, you know, not that that's anything breaking. We've kind of been hearing that.
He's obviously being tired of being asked about it, you know, for every media.
But we're kind of being tired of hearing about it.
I know. So am I.
I've said this probably 18 times during the last 20 episodes that we've recorded is I don't really want to hear about it unless there's actual breaking news. You know, it's like, okay, Donald Trump's fixing it now. And hey, this is happening and then that's happening. But I mean, if we are any step closer, we're not aware. So until there's something, keep it moving.
Yeah.
Harry, you could have been more famous than you already are, but you didn't go to the Happy Gilmore casting call. So we will not see you on July 25th when Happy Gilmore releases, unfortunately. But I don't know, like Space Jam, incredible. And then we have LeBron's Space Jam.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
I'm
like
nervous for this.
You know,
it's
like
this could really
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's decent, but
they tried to make a couple extra Caddyshacs and
just didn't do it. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah. But I got to give a shout out to my senior marketing manager, Alex. I was looking a little bit, actually wasn't actually watching Netflix, but I saw on Instagram a clip where she's actually in full swing. We work with the Mia's Miracles, and she was on site for Mother's Day for their 5K this past year. And you see her on camera, like with our, you know, camera shooting content of Camila, and she's on there. So I nice. Saw it last night. I screenshot. I was like, Alex, you're famous. So I thought that was pretty cool. But
very cool.
Also cool, Moose, you do this with our outing. Brandon and I do it with our tournament, you know, find ways to give back and help children. So always cool to recognize people who are doing things like that. Justin and Kate Rose were just honored with the Arnie Award for giving back to children's causes. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Very cool.
Through and through. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler, he beat his buddy he lost. His buddy beat him, who was a 10 handicap. But he talked about like just how fun the game is. Like, hey, you can give some strokes, you know, you can gamble, you make it fun, and just kind of talking about how cool the game of golf is in general. I don't know if you guys saw that at all.
I mean, really talking about 10 handicap like it's the like it's a Make-A-Wish situation.
Exactly.
It may kind of hurt my feelings. I know he's world number one, but I'm like,
I mean, geez.
Scotty, jeez, you know,
I mean, come on.
But it's funny because this isn't the first time like Scotty's talked about just like nonchalant golf rounds like with his buddies. He's like,
or
you
Tony
know, I'll
Romo.
give him
Yeah.
Oh, that's an epic story.
That was the good one.
Yeah. He's like, no, I just, you know, we'll Venmo him back or whatever. But it's kind of cool to hear Scotty talking about slumming it. So maybe we can get Moose around with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you have the TGL story, Danielle,
Which one?
with Rory and the New York Golf Club.
Let's hear it.
Well, they went at it the other night, and of course, I watch all these matches, right?
Mhm.
And Rory missed a very short putt in one of the holes against New York Golf Club. And if New York Golf Club won, which they ended up doing, they qualified for the playoffs. And Rory's team obviously is out. They didn't win one match this year. Rory's team.
Crazy.
He misses this short putt, and whoever handled the Twitter feed for the New York Golf Club, I thought it was me, because they referenced Pinehurst. Like
Oof.
all of us, I didn't think this was going to turn into Pinehurst, or
Oof.
I forget the exact quote, but it was brilliant. And I think they've taken it down. Now, I don't know if they felt bad afterwards, some buyer's remorse, or if Rory asked them to take it down, or Rory's people asked them to take it down, but it's down. And I thought that was very interesting.
Or Tiger.
Yeah. But you know what? I think it's
Yeah.
more fun when you have stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is going back, I don't know how many years ago. I was working with the American Cornhole League. They were one of our clients,
Mm-hmm.
and they started out with like 0 followers. And I was like, let me take over Twitter. And people would be like, oh, cornhole on ESPN, like this is stupid. And I'm like, what? You don't want to see like Crocs and people with 6 teeth? Like, and I made it like fun and like relatable. And people like love just like the witty banter I use like on Twitter to just like, be light, make fun of yourself, like have some fun, throw out some, kind of low blows.
So are you responsible for getting us over 3,000 Instagram followers?
I wouldn't say that that's my doing.
I think Josh Allen is. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He was there the other night.
So
again,
it was.
TGL.
It was.
Yeah. But we will be stepping up our swing it and ding it social.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. But let's stay on the topic of TGL. So Golf Digest put out, they said, as TGL's inaugural season wraps up, how would you rate the league? So I love the internet. Let's share some of these responses. This was an all-time one for me. Get them drunk and involve John Daly.
I like that.
How great would that be, right?
Yeah, that would be good.
Another person said Kisner doink off the flag stick was my favorite moment. What about Tom Kim last night with like the look away thinking he made the putt?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wait, are you guys picking this up? I actually watched a little bit last night.
He was celebrating and it didn't go in.
He did. Hands out. Like I think he like threw the putter, and then I think we saw some Tiger crying again from laughing so hard. Him and Homa. So thought that was kind of funny. I mentioned it a little bit earlier with Patrick but Tiger going up to Charlie and being like, what is that, chicken fingers? He's like, throw me one. Charlie's like, what? He's like, throw me a chicken finger.
Yeah.
Like just all-time dad moment. I thought that was so cool. Just like,
you always got to take your kids chicken fingers. That's the way
and you see Kai Trump sitting right there too, just taking it in. That was pretty cool.
Well, and don't forget that, remember when Tiger, they told him it was 99 the distance, and he thought they meant like 99 yards. So he hit like some sort of really lofted wedge, and it was 199.
Right. But why did we say that in golf though? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but a lot of times, like if it is 199, you'll just be like 99, and I'm like, okay, or it's like 87 and it's 187. Why is there? Do you guys?
My wife gets that. She understands now.
Well, I know the reason why, but just why? I mean, I guess you can clearly tell, like on a real course, if it's 87 or 187. But what is the purpose? Why are we just, it's so much work to say one in front of the, we got to conserve our voices. Like, I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know, because I don't know. All right. So wait, we'll give like one more of these. So someone did say, I love it. Golf on weeknights during a slower sports cycle in a team format. Great recipe to grow the game. And then one other person, personally, I don't believe it's been great watching. I can see that watching it live in person would be a great event, but I haven't been able to get into it on TV. So we have some people with different views, and interesting to see how it kind of trends.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I've enjoyed it. It's given me something to watch, like the texter or whatever said. Monday and Tuesdays, kind of stink during the winter.
Yeah.
And it's giving me something to watch. And now we got playoffs coming up. Should be
playoffs.
Good.
Well, that's why last week you guys said, I was like, sell it to me. Tell me why. So last night I was like, okay, let's put it on. And like I said, I don't really watch a ton of TV. So to put it on, I was kind of multitasking and watching, but I was entertained by, Tiger, Tom Kim, like just the banter and just humanizing these guys a little bit. I don't think I'm going to manipulate my schedule around watching it. But if it's on and I'm available, I think I'll continue to tune in softly.
Yep. All right, let's go to the Arnold Palmer Invitational, right? Signature event. We just talked about it. Bay Hill. This is when things get serious, right, Harry? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. This is, the Florida swing, and getting closer and closer to the first major of the year. We got the Players next week, but this is a great one this week. The Bay Hill Club and Lodge, designed by Dick Wilson back in 1961. And Arnold Palmer has done some redesigns, most notably the one in 2009. But a par 72, 7,466 yards, pretty long. They got 4 par 5s, 4 and 6 on the front, and on the back is 12 and 16, 4 par 3s, 2 and 7 on the front, and 14 and 17 on the back. Average green size, 7,500 square feet. So big greens, and they're Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass on the greens. The fairways, approaches, and rough are a rye overseed with 3-inch rough, so it's going to look really nice and green. Fairways are kind of generous, as in most Arnold Palmer type of golf courses, 30 yards wide on average, a little bit wider than normal. 84 bunkers and 8 water hazards, but water is in play on half of the holes. 9 holes, water's in play. The big change this year is there's no more beach bunker on 17. The par 3, which is a really hard par 3, they've turned it into a grass bank now. And the final 3 holes are where all the drama really is, although some great holes on the front too. But the 16th is a very reachable par 5, only 511 yards. The big bunker on the right side of the fairway catches its share of balls off the tee. The approach is to a slightly offset green with water in the front, and on the short left side, bunkers front, back, and right. 17, I told you about the redesign. It's a tough par 3, 220 yards, all over water to a large oblong green with bunkers left and long. You miss this green, it makes for a really difficult up and down. 18th, a par 4, 458 yards with a narrow fairway and a pond encroaching off the right. Approach to a narrow kidney-shaped green with a rock wall and water all down the right side, and 3 bunkers surround the left side. You remember some of these great shots coming into the one Arnold Palmer, which you're going to see a million times this week, where he cuts and he hits this nice low cut and it runs right onto the green and gets real close. Tiger Woods has had some brilliant finishes in all his wins at this golf course. So 16, 17, and 18 is a lot of drama. They're going to be high numbers because the wind is up. I just saw where Ludwig Oberg is tied for 7th, and he's +1 already through 2 holes. A lot of bogeys today. And his golf nickname, I just got texted, Golf Lundgren. How great is that for Ludwig Oberg?
Wow.
That's pretty great.
Wow.
That's really
good.
And
And Harry,
Somebody
you got Xander.
texted you that?
It's one of my buddies just sent me that, and really windy at Bay Hill, but it's not windy at the Penn Club on 2nd, where it's still time to get part of that 4-month membership and get yourself.
Can you play Bay Hill there?
Golf. I'm not sure. I haven't done it yet.
I'm sure.
Get over
I'm
there
sure.
and get it.
I'm sure
Get around in and show us some content.
Absolutely.
Xander. How about Xander back since back with a rib injury?
Oh yeah.
You got Scotty defending, who won by 5. So you have Scotty, you have Kitayama in 23. Yep. Bryson won this. It's funny we talked about him. Rory in 2018. So Rory has 9 starts here, 6 in the top 10.
Yeah.
And Sunjay has 6 starts here. His worst was a T21, and he's got a big juicy number when we see the line at 6,000. So
who'd you take in the one and done, Moose?
I took Maverick actually.
Her?
I took Henley.
I took your favorite.
Rory.
Not saving him for the Masters. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, right. Yeah, I took Henley. Obviously, Rory, Scheffler, Cantlay, and JT were the big picks on the one and done pool, which there was some confusion because the site dropped the app.
Yes. I know. I was like, well, I had to log in, do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, so I woke up to these texts from a buddy of mine. He's ship 87 on the pool, okay? I can't get into my account. Can you get me into my account if I give you my pick? Can you invite me into the pool again? I don't know what the F is going on. Forget all the threats. I finally got on this crooked pool. Take that back. You need to re-invite me to this crooked pool. And then he goes, just stay in bed. I figured it out. So
Jeez.
now that he's an extra
The
entry
roller
for this
coaster of
guy.
emotions.
Exactly. I went to bed at 8:30 last night. This is what I missed. I get up at
Wow.
5. But that's what I
Stay
got.
in
So
bed.
stay in bed.
This
a-hole.
crooked fool.
This crooked. That's Scott Duke is his name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great Scott Duke. I always like seeing like the tournament odds and seeing like the top 3 and the disparity when Scotty's playing well. So I checked this morning. It was 280 Scotty, 750 Rory, and then Oberg 1600. I always love seeing that
Big drop off. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, how far? Because
Yeah.
then it's like then most guys are at 14, 1600 usually. But interesting when Scotty's in a tournament where they think he's going to win, how that messes up the odds.
Yep.
Well, he just lost
Very
to a
cool.
10 handicap, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, he's hurting right now.
Yeah.
He's
But
hurting
the
right now.
Puerto Rico Open is also this
That's
week.
right.
And our
Yeah.
buddy Kevin Roy was one of the top choices at plus 2,500. I think he was the second choice, tied for the second choice.
I saw him at the Cognizant.
Yeah.
We got to get
Yeah.
him back on.
Hits it straight, man. And then Liv over in Hong Kong. Rahm, of course, is the favorite. And Neiman and DeChambeau are
Do you guys
second and
watch any
third.
live?
No.
Well, now the time change is so screwed up.
Harry
It-
would, yeah.
It doesn't go off until about 11:30 tonight, or I would.
Well, I know we got to wrap. Everyone's on a tight thing. I need to just drop one more thing real quick since we're Philly based. Pine Valley Walker Cup. We might have to wait until 2044, but still iconic nonetheless. So
I hope
Yeah.
it
I'm
will
alive.
return there for the 3rd time.
They were saying the people playing in it aren't born yet, which is interesting.
Right,
Most
yeah.
Of them, some of them, most of them, all of them.
I
Well,
hope I'm
maybe they
around
open
to
it.
see it.
Maybe they open it up to females, and I just, Vienna's just wake up, come on, get out there and make some putts.
There you go.
All right, great stuff. Thank you to Patrick Sheehan for joining us. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Seems like he's got the talent and the mindset. So
Yeah.
that's all awesome
It's
to see.
just
someone.
golf.
That's
Just
it.
golf.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, we'll be back next week to see what happened at the Arnold Palmer. Thanks for listening.